It's another new low. Another new low. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse this week, Meghan Markle has only gone to People magazine to brief against her own husband. Yes, that's right. As if she hasn't humiliated him quite enough over the past few days, you know, with the slut drop video, with the release of all of the pictures of Lily, with the whole world talking about the fact that the bump doesn't look at all real. No, Meghan Markle has to go and rub salt into the wounds by going to People magazine and pointing out that she's not the issue. Of course, the royal rift just has nothing to do with her. So we're going to get analysis from our royal mastermind, Prince Harry's biographer, Angela Levin, in just one moment. But first, let me take you through this astonishing reporting in People magazine, which I do always have to remind you has clearly come directly from Meghan herself or one of her representatives, because that's how she works with People magazine. People magazine has now become the biggest propagandist for the Sussexes since Omid Scobie, that weird little bloke, you know, the one that looks like Michael Jackson, scurried off the scene. Okay, here's the report. Meghan Markle is very business about royal rift, as Prince Harry is left out of the details in England. A source says that Meghan is focused on the future while Harry has one foot in the past. Okay, so we're going to go into this in much more detail, but Angela Levin, can I just kick off by saying this is not normal? The only other couple that I have ever known to brief against each other while they remain married, remember, that's the difference. This happens with warring couples, with divorcing couples all the time. But while they remained married was Victoria and David Beckham. And even they realised that it was just impossible if they were going to stay together and put their issues behind them. It was just impossible to have two different camps within one marriage briefing publications. But that's exactly what Meghan Markle has done here. It is a disgusting new low, briefing against her husband to People magazine, and also Angela trying to wash her hands of this all. I mean, of course I think Harry's behaviour has been completely atrocious. Of course I think it's right that the royal family are leaving him out of all of the discussions. He has no right to know about his father's health. I'm sorry, you've blown that, mate. But for Meghan to try and say, oh, he's just stuck in the past, my husband is the one stuck in the past and I've done nothing wrong, is the height of narcissistic delusion.
Yeah, well, there we are. This is another part of her plan, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because she can be so ghastly about her husband, and she just goes marching on. But we have found out that it's Harry who does to do the dirty work, really, for them. And she pretends she doesn't know, or she's never heard of this, or she just moves on. She's never at fault. And actually, to put herself down as she's wonderful because she looks ahead and Harry looks to the past. Well, if he does, you don't actually highlight that and get a magazine to print that, do you? You support him. That's what I think. Or you leave it out. And, you know, it's not me. I'm looking for the future and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But she's not doing any of it very well, but she doesn't actually say that. So the whole thing is awful. And I've been surprised that the magazine would actually find people who actually could say something very nice. One of them, Valentine Lowe, who, as you know, is a brilliant royal writer and worked for the Times, who's retired now, and he said that he thought Charles should be a good dad and make the first move. This is a family rift rather than a constitutional rift. I'm absolutely astonished, because actually, if you've got a father and you've been incredibly rude to him, he's given you £3 million when you left to live somewhere else. Thank you very much. No, they don't thank anybody very much. And you don't sort of feel that you've been absolutely as ghastly as you can be and not told truths all the time, that you should be the person that is hears his father say, "I'm so sorry, let's get together." I don't believe that in 1 minute. I think it's Prince Harry, sorry, who actually has to apologize hugely because of all the nasty
Yes.
things he said, for saying that his father was trapped in his job, as was William. And I don't believe that it should be that way round.
Big headline energy tonight. The buzz is that Meghan Markle hinted her marriage to Prince Harry is not what it used to be. She didn't drop a divorce bomb, but the tone of the piece, lines about still finding herself and feeling tethered to the past, as reported, reads like a quiet SOS to anyone fluent in celebrity, PR. If accurate, that's not filler copy, that's messaging.
And not to mention the fact that he revealed the details of just how bad his father's cancer was in that BBC interview. But look, let's get on, Angela, and we can analyse as we go to this specific reporting from People, which write, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are united in their support of each other, but they view the deep divide with the royal family from different perspectives. A source close to the couple tells People they're aware of everything going on in England, but they're being left out of the details. There's clearly no trust. Meghan, who is focused on the future, while Harry has one foot in the past, is very business about it, the source says. Now, Angela, of course Meghan is very business about it because this isn't her family. She always hated them. She never had any intention to make it work. And we know that she doesn't even give a damn about her own flesh and blood. So why is she going to care about Harry's? It's very easy for her to be businesslike about it now that she has isolated Harry from his relatives.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's absurd to think that anybody in a marriage feels the same passion for their other person's family as the person does themselves. You know, if you marry, you've had a parent who's gone along with you for so long, and the other half come up and start in a very different way. And, you know, if you like them or you don't like them, you respect for them, but you can't expect Harry to take the responsibility for all that. I think it's just ridiculous. If he wants to know all the detail, if they're moaning about all the detail, then actually they can stop telling lies and they should stop saying anything about the royal family, not saying, I don't know how much longer he's going to live, not saying that, oh, he told William and I that he won't have long, and can we please be nice? That was when Prince Philip died. He spoke to both boys, and then somebody, i.e. Harry, sold it in America. I mean, how can you then trust anyone? I mean, Princess Anne says the only thing you can talk to him about is the weather.
Of course.
And that's it.
Yes.
People
She's so right.
you.
She's so right. No, you can't. Then, Angela, we get to Meghan trying to justify that, you know, she's just the best wife in the world, Angela. She's just amazing. She sticks by Harry. So this is how the reporting is portrayed to People magazine. Through it all, Meghan stands firmly by Harry's side, supporting him through his ongoing lawsuits and the painful rift with his family. But an insider says Meghan wishes her husband could feel less burdened by the past and more present in the life they've built together. The rift between Prince Harry and his father, King Charles, is 5 years deep and remains one of the most painful fractures in Charles's reign. Amid the King's cancer diagnosis and Harry's increasingly candid public pleas, the silence between them speaks volumes. Now, Angela, this to me is a very significant line because I believe this is Meghan Markle admitting that the marriage is in trouble. Because as soon as she says she wishes her husband could feel less burdened by the past and more present in the life they've built together, suggests that's not a happy life, Angela. But again, what's so fascinating is she's not looking at herself in any way and thinking, maybe I haven't been the best wife, maybe I'm not putting a life together that Harry's happy with. She says, no, it's just because he's so focused on the past and so focused on his life in Britain. But again, very significant to me because it is Meghan Markle admitting what we have reported for a long time. This is not a happy couple.
When someone in a high-profile marriage says they're still finding themselves or that life feels anchored to the past, it often means the present isn't matching the promise. Layer that over a choppy few years, a hit-and-miss Netflix run, the Spotify breakup, legal battles, and constant backlash, and you get a picture of strain. Sources cited around the People piece, again, unconfirmed, claim Meghan has been exhausted trying to hold the center while also rebuilding her own brand. That combination, burnout plus image control, is usually the warm-up act before a pivot.
Yes, that's right. But the other thing we need to remember to actually make nonsense of what she's saying is that she's the one who's so furious with the royal family. She's the one who wants a reparation. She's the one who wanted to be paid for any place that she went to visit and had to talk to people and all that. Remember in Australia, she was furious that she wasn't given any money, and she was nagging at Harry to say that we do need money. We can't do these jobs without money. So he had to go and tell his father, and she keeps on at him, so he keeps on at his father. But it's very easy for her to pretend that she's not being nasty, that she's actually going far ahead in the future, except that she does talk about the past far too much. She complains about things about her own life, and she's talking about 100 years ago when women shouldn't have money now, shouldn't be good workers. Well, that goes back to a whole 100 years ago that women couldn't work. I mean, so she's not actually in the light at the moment or even in the future, because she's behind things as well. And I think she goes on and on. She's a nagger, isn't she? She just keeps on about these things.
Oh, yes.
And Harry tries to do it, but nothing ever satisfies her. She's one of those women who's never satisfied, and she hasn't been, and I don't think she ever will be. It's very hard for her to say, I've done well, and now, let me help Harry. She doesn't do that. It's me, and going along and all that sort of stuff. The way she hangs on to him, that's not standing by his side, isn't it? That's making sure he doesn't move anywhere. She doesn't like any of that. And actually, how you can say that and then tell him to go off and not come back for several weeks, as she's now doing, standing by his side. She's it's not funny, actually. It's awful. But she doesn't actually realise that what she says about a lot of things, she's doing things in the same way.
And it is funny how delusional she is, actually. I mean, it is funny. I think, because she's just so nuts. I mean, you sometimes have to, I'm sorry, let's look at the video again. Come on, let's just look. How can you not laugh at that? I mean, she's a total mess and embarrassment. If you wouldn't laugh at this, you'd cry.
Yeah, well, there's a sort of sadness that goes with it, but in fact, you see it all the time, and that is just turns my stomach. That's my stomach.
But let's laugh. I say let's laugh. I mean, look. What's interesting about this People cover article, though, Angela, is it then does dig in a little bit into what's actually going on within the royal family. And they write that insiders say that the king isn't surrounded by voices encouraging reconciliation with Prince Harry. They write Prince William has shown no interest in extending an olive branch, while Queen Camilla, sharply criticised in Spare, quote, stays out of it. That's according to a source. Even senior aides, including Clive Alderton, who was also named in Harry's memoir, are unlikely to encourage outreach. So is that your understanding, Angela, that effectively Camilla's just like, I'm out of this, I'm not into this?
Well, if you remember, GB News had a thing where they said that Camilla was wearing a dress that she wore for their wedding, and that's a big sign, a big sign that they should come back, and it was trying to make them feel happy about that. And if you remember, I said to you, that's absolute nonsense, although I said it with a more powerful word. She, from the right start, she loved the boys, she liked them very much, but she didn't feel it was her duty to do anything about them. It was the king's duty to do that. And she's actually not somebody who interferes in other people's marriages, certainly not her husband, who she adores. And, she might listen to what he says about things if he wants to ask her about the children, but she won't take any line. She just doesn't. It's not her way of doing things. She doesn't want to do that. She doesn't feel it's her business. She thinks the king has got a lot to do, and it's up to him how he deals with it. And I know that for sure.
Here's where it gets loud without saying the quiet part. Meghan reportedly focusing on solo ventures, sharpening her personal brand, and spending more time in her own lane. That's textbook pre-rebrand behavior. Celebs do this when they want daylight between us and me, not necessarily a breakup, but a recalibration. And notably, Harry barely features in the profile, and when he does, it's framed in memories more than the present tense. That's a tell. If the partnership is the product, the marketing usually shouts it. When it doesn't, something's shifting.
Yeah, indeed. And this is the thing that I find most shocking about Harry's view of it all. That he genuinely believes that he does have a right to be kept up to date to what's going on within the royal family. So they write, the King's weekly cancer treatments add further urgency to the idea of healing the relationship before it's too late. It's been difficult for him to get proper updates about his dad, the source says, underscoring just how deep the divide has become. I mean, I'm sorry, Angela. This is what makes me mad. It's like, Harry, there are consequences to your actions. Grow up, mate. You're an adult. Every single person told you before the publication of Spare, if you go for Camilla and you go for Catherine, the Princess of Wales, that's it with your father and brother. There is no way back after that. What did he do, Angela? Totally ignored those warnings, went for Camilla in the book, went for Catherine in the book. I'm sorry, you're now reaping what you sowed.
Yeah, it's obvious actually, because both men really love their wives.
Yes.
And actually, if you get hurt, the man perhaps, you don't feel it nearly as bad as if they hurt your wife. Because that you can't stand, because they know it's been difficult becoming into the lives of a royal family. They care about them a lot, and it's their brother who's making this terrible statements and nastiness. And so they feel very sorry for them. So they get very angry, which actually I imagine that Harry wanted in the end. But how can you expect that you say, but I don't know the detail, I must be told the detail, if he will go onto the phone right away and sell it off? How can they tell him? They can't. There will be a time when perhaps this is needed, but he's not going to be told every detail after he goes to see his doctor once a week. And the fact that he thinks he's got the right of doing that is just disgusting. We can't behave like that and then expect to be told these things when you wouldn't keep it quiet. You wouldn't. And you wouldn't actually, when you say you want to get back within the royal family, and then you say next sentence something very nasty about them, as he did when he was interviewed by the BBC. And then so the whole thing goes out the window. You can't do that. You have to hold on to your the way that you feel that people should be. And in any case, I mean, King Charles is doing absolutely amazingly with his illness. But if he has somebody in there shouting at him, I want to know the details, shouting at him, why don't you give me more money? Shouting at him, why don't you apologize to Meghan? She's the most wonderful girl you could ever meet, woman rather than girl. It will make him not feel very well, and that's not a very good idea. He has to be calm. He has to be in positive situations, which happened in Canada. It was wonderful. He enjoyed it, even though he was very tired at the end because it was only 24 hours and they did masses. But, it was worth it because he felt very happy. And if you take your mind off something like that, it's a very good idea. But you're not going to wait for one of your children to come to you and tell you what you have to do. Not on.
Insiders, take with salt, say Harry's been moody, withdrawn, even weighing time off from the spotlight. If true, that tracks. The lawsuits, the scrutiny, and the awkward press moments have snowballed. Meanwhile, Meghan's alleged messaging sounds forward-facing and individual. The Sussex brand was built on us against the world. If it morphs into her next chapter and his reset, that's not random, that's strategy. And it puts the palace-free, California-era love story under real pressure because the brand depends on the bond.
No, very well put. Angela, can you also explain at all what on earth has been going on with As Ever this week and Meghan's U-turn? Because it's like she's gone from not stocking anything at all this year. And remember, we listened, didn't we? We listened together earlier in the week to the Tina Knowles podcast, and she's like admitting, yes, I did it all wrong, Tina Knowles. I'm not going to put any more stock until I've got everything sorted. And then there was like an Instagram story saying, no, it's all coming back. I mean, what is going on?
Nothing till 2026. Absolutely nothing. And I can't tell you how much I've cried over it and how much I've worked over it. But I don't think I've got to really make sure that people really want this. I've got to, all this rubbish words. And then later that day, she came back. There was a notice that she actually can get strawberries and raspberries and all sorts of other things that I can't wait to give you. My view, which may very well be wrong, was that she was so cross to be beaten in her talking that she decided that she had to do something very quickly that would change the whole sort of idea of what was happening. So she threw away the conversation and came up with another thing, that she was going to get lots of lovely things for people, that they were going to have their jams and all that. And it makes no sense whatsoever. Is she going to make the jam at home? If she's only going to do a few things, who's going to do that? The factory won't do you 25 jars of jam. She just went off and started saying absolute nonsense about what she wants to do now. Suddenly she's in a good mood. Before she was a victim, and then she was in a good mood. And she goes from victim to good mood and victim to good mood, and saying, poor me, and then everything's so exciting, I can't wait. Well, she did that with the podcast, didn't she? She added another one on, which was completely, it was half brave and half silly to do that. And then she just pretends that it's not there, it's wiped out. And that's how she keeps on with lots of things. She's never responsible.
Never responsible, ever. And as ever is a complete business catastrophe.
Bottom line, if these readings of the People profile are accurate, Meghan didn't torch the house. She cracked a window and let the world feel a draft. It looks and sounds like a soft launch for a new phase, one that might not always include Harry beside her. Maybe it's honesty, maybe it's calculated distance. Either way, it's a major inflection point for brand Sussex. What do you think? Heartfelt truth or a careful PR repositioning? Drop your take below, hit like if you caught the same subtext, and subscribe for more clear-eyed royal breakdowns.